A little bit of a late start. We're trying to put a few pieces together in light of transactions that's going on today. As many of you may have heard by now, Councilman Byrd has been offered an exciting opportunity to become the next city court clerk. And in accepting that offer from Mayor Kelly, Councilman Byrd has submitted a letter of resignation that would be effective upon confirmation of the council. And I will submit the letter of resignation to our clerk to be read into the minutes at the 6 o'clock meeting this afternoon. Having been made aware of the offer to Councilman Byrd, I asked our clerk if she would pull the minutes from two previous councils that had to take this action of filling a vacancy on the council. And what I have put together is a little bit of a template that they had put in place that I want to present to the council, and without any opposition or tweaks to it. This is how I'd like to proceed forward. On February the 8th, the resolution to confirm Councilman Byrd as city court clerk will be placed on our 2-week agenda. That would be on February the 8th. And then a resolution to confirm him, the vote would be taken on February the 15th. So February the 15th would be the actual vote confirming Councilman Byrd to the city court clerk position. Also on the 15th, we would present a resolution presuming and assuming that Councilman Byrd is confirmed. We would have a resolution that would declare the District 8 seat vacant, and it would direct the Hamilton County Election Commission to place the District 8 seat on the ballot of the August county general election. Now, in order to appoint a temporary council appointment, the rest of the remaining body, the remaining 8 on the council, will select a replacement for that seat until the August election. Now, those that would be interested in qualifying for the District 8 seat would be able to pick up papers approximately 2 days. If we pass the resolution on a Tuesday, we would get the resolution to the Election Commission on Wednesday, and then they could should be able to pick up papers to qualify for that seat on that Thursday, February the 17th, and have until noon on April the 7th to qualify for that seat. In the meantime, the council will select a replacement for the council seat until a special election is held. And interested parties, people that are interested in applying for the temporary council appointment, can submit a letter of interest and resume to the city council, or to the council clerk rather, beginning February the 16th, and we'll have until noon on March the 1st. That will be about a 2-week application period for applicants to apply for the temporary seat. Person submitting for the appointment must be a resident of District 8 at least for 1 year, and resumes may be mailed or hand delivered to the city council office, 1000 Lindsay Street, Chattanooga, Tennessee, 37402. The person appointed to fill the vacancy will serve until the August election. And in addition to stating interest in the position, the previous councils, and I feel like it's a good idea, persons submitting to fill the interim seat will be asked to make a public commitment not to be a candidate for the August 2022 election. Council members will interview applicants on Tuesday, March the 8th. That'll be a week after the deadline, after the cutoff. And then during the 6 o'clock meeting, we'll give each applicant a 3-minute time slot to give a presentation to the council. And then the council members can make nominations and vote on a replacement for the District 8 seat. And that will occur on March the 8th. I'm sure that many of you probably have questions or even comments, and I would hope you would have some comments, particularly congratulating Councilman Byrd on this exciting opportunity. So are there any questions or comments concerning the whole process of either replacing Councilman Byrd in his seat or the election that would be coming up in August? Councilman Hester.
Okay. You stated the person who's going to be appointed is not to be a candidate in the election in August. Is that the normal procedure?
Well, as I stated earlier, I had our council clerk to look back at the minutes of the 2 previous councils that had to go through this same situation. Both times, both councils, when they appointed somebody to the seat, they asked that person interested in filling the seat until the special election to make a public commitment not to seek election to that position. So when you say, is it normal? There's really nothing in the charter that addresses this process.
Okay.
It's more or less, this council can do something completely different. I felt, however, with having a template from the 2 previous councils that have gone through something like this, there was no reason to reinvent the wheel. I just felt like it would probably be better on this council to appoint somebody to that seat that was not going to try to seek election as well.
Okay, you said there's nothing in the charter, but we find a replacement that we deem who can serve that position, who's qualified for the position. I think that particular district be, I guess it'd be missing out on a good candidate for be a council person.
So I guess, so my argument would be, or my response to that would be, if you feel like you are a good candidate for to fill out the remainder of Councilman Byrd's term, then I would suggest that you allow the District 8 community to place you in that seat, not this council. That would be my argument for that. Now, like I said, there may be differences of opinion on that, and if the majority of the council would rather put a replacement in that seat that can run for election, then that's the way we'll go. I'm just offering to you my proposal for how that should go, and that is following the template for what the 2 previous councils had done.
Okay, well taken. Well taken.
You good, sir?
Good. Thank you.
Councilwoman Coonrod.
Thank you, Chair. I'm really excited that Councilman Byrd will be confirmed to be the city court clerk. I think it's a generational change for him and his family. He's worked at that court office on the county side since he was a senior in high school. So he's well qualified to do the position, well versed in it. He already know how I feel about it. We have several talks, but I'm gonna miss him serving on council. You know, we're cousins by marriage, and it's just been a great time seeing him grow from the beginning when we ran in 2017, and we both was nervous running again in this second time for re-election. But I'm really excited to see this next stage in his life for him to move forward. I think he'll serve as the city court clerk. He'll serve us well. And I could just, the things that he can do for people from the court clerk perspective is going to be life-changing from the people, for the constituents that we all serve. But I do want to lean in on what Councilman Hester is discussing about uh, whoever we appoint, and you mentioned it, that we want them to say that they won't run or seek election. Like their constituent, they should be able to be a candidate. They live in a district. I do get and understand that, previous councils have done that. But if we really think about, if we continuously do, there's a lot of stuff that previous councils done that I'm sure we don't want to do. And, and we continue to refer back to what the previous times, what they done back then. That's like dinosauric. You know what I mean? Like this council should be known for something that we can create to do. And we should be in the age of moving us forward and allow people to, if they want to run in the special election, even if they were appointed, that we shouldn't be governing them to say that they can't do something. That takes their freedom away from them. Now I get it. If it's somebody, I hear what you're saying, that, if it's somebody that want to run, then maybe they shouldn't seek to get appointed. But that's part of our freedom to do so if they qualify. We're just saying that how I understand it is that we're saying as a collective body, we're going to appoint you based on the resume or whatever, whomever we deem that we want to appoint at that time. We're not dictating or saying, well, we're going to make sure that you get elected. That's not what we're telling them. Like that individual, if Bob Ann wanted to run, they should have that right to do so. And it's up to the constituents if they want to elect them to serve out the rest of his term, or they may say, we don't want them. We're going to select Bobby Sue or whoever it is, but we shouldn't put those controls on them to say that they have to agree to something like that. I would like for us to talk about that. I do respect your positioning on it, but I feel like you kind of raped us of the choice to decide in the matter. I would like the opportunity for us to discuss, to vote on it, to see if the council want to continue to, move in those stale ways that we done previously, or if we want to do something new.
Okay, I certainly don't mind putting it before the council to see if they would rather appoint someone that has the freedom to run. I do think, and looking back at the other councils, they did meet and talk about, and then they arrived at, asking a person to make a public commitment not to run. And I don't know, maybe the process looks a little bit different if we're appointing someone that can turn around and run. I don't know, but what I was just trying to do is lay out a clear path forward that seemed to be clean, not as messy. Obviously, there's certainly going to be more emphasis, I think, placed on people wanting to get appointed if they're going to turn around and run for election. I think the competition is going to be a tremendous, is my guess. So all I was trying to do is make a clean process, and in the end, let the people of District 6 decide just give them a clean slate, let them decide who they want to elect.
Trying to get rid of Councilman Byrd.
District 8?
You said 6.
Did I say 6? I'm sorry. I meant 8.
Freudian slip.
It is. I was really wanting to replace 6, but I didn't have that choice. Anything else, Councilwoman? And I'll put it to a vote here. So let some other people weigh in, or other council people weigh in, and I'm certainly happy to put that to a vote.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I really appreciate. The only thing that I would just add is that District 8 have a lot of great people with letters behind their name, credentialed, as Councilwoman Byrd love to say. And I think, that they will be, they just deserve the opportunity to, if they wanted to. That's just my stance, but thank you.
Okay. Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just going to echo Councilwoman Coonrod's comments on Councilman Byrd. Super happy for him, super proud of him, everything that he's overcome. Just simply being elected the first time and having to make a decision to leave his employment to do a job that the people asked him to do, I thought was a tremendous show of character. So even beyond his experience in that arena and being able to do the job, I just think he's just going to be fantastic for it. I'm only sad that this council will not be working with him on a daily basis, but I can't be happier for the opportunity that he has created for himself, and appreciate the mayor and the administration for recognizing that and choosing him to step up in that role. So I'm super excited for him. Councilman Hester, I couldn't agree with you more, sir. I don't agree at all with asking somebody to only serve as a caretaker for this role. If this council selects the best candidate that applies, that person is the best candidate that applied and should not be restricted from their right to run for election. So I definitely do not agree with that. I want whomever we select to be the best candidate with no restrictions, not the best candidate not willing to run for office. So that's where I stand on that. One other question, Mr. Chair, we talked about a confirmation of Councilman Byrd on the 15th. I know our process is to put items on a 2-week agenda, and there may be a legal requirement. My question is, can we do that 1 week out rather than 2? Because every day that we wait to take those steps is an additional day that seat will be unrepresented, since he has already tendered his resignation. So just the sooner that we can move this process along, the sooner that seat will have a representative. But there may be a legal requirement for the 2-week notice in this case. But I'm just throwing that out there as a possibility if the council allowed it to us move forward a little bit quicker. Again, he has resigned. He will not be up here casting a vote from this time forward. So that seat will remain empty for the duration that we put off making that decision.
Well, let me, he has submitted his letter of resignation, but it is not effective until the vote of confirmation. So, but yes, he will, he has stated in his letter of resignation that he will not be attending council meetings. So I just want to make sure that we.
Sure. And
Clear-
that's what
clear
I
that
meant.
up, yeah.
But since he will not be casting a vote
Yeah.
any longer, that seat is
Now,
empty.
and the only reason I went with the 2-week agenda is it more closely follows our process. It also gives the public the opportunity to weigh in on this as well. I've just seen us sometimes get ahead of our process and it bites us. I just wanted us to follow the process, but if the consent of the council is to put it on next week's agenda to be voted on, then here again, I'm willing to go by the consent of the council.
Yeah, just putting
This
that
was
there as
just
an
my
option, sir.
recommendations. Councilwoman Hill.
Thank you, Chair. I will definitely miss Councilman Byrd. He's been an encouragement to me in my short-term time on this body. I'd love to know from my peers here what you all see as the pros and cons of this determination of whether the interim should be able to run for elections. One thing to say, we agree or don't agree. Ken, you made the point, you want the very best person to be chosen for the role, which I can't put in the pro column. Potential, I mean, that's pretty neat for us to have a say on who our colleague would be, right? We don't get that option very often. But I must say, when Chairman Henderson listed off this process, I thought, oh, what a breath of fresh air that would be, just knowing that the appointment immediately gives someone a leg up in a election. So I genuinely do not know where I stand on this and would love to hear from the other folks in the queue what you all see as pros and cons of the interim being able to run or not. That would help me make my decision. Thank you.
So we have several in the queue. Councilman Ledford, you're up next.
Thank you, Chairman. Didn't know we were going to pay tribute to Councilman Byrd today, so I would have written at least 30 minutes of stories. I love talking about him behind his back, so, No, I'm going to miss Anthony. When I met him in 2017 at the fire ops, when we were all running for office, it took me about 30 seconds to realize I had a new friend. And I'm going to really miss working with him. He's always, I don't know, he's Anthony Byrd, and he cares. And he doesn't care about things that divide us. And I've seen that in his heart. And I truly, and I'm not afraid to say that I love that guy. I really do. He's a good man. I'm going to miss working with him. I'm getting a little choked up there, but I'm really going to miss him. I'll see him around, I know, but working with him has been a real treat. My second question was, is there anything in the minutes that we could digest in regards to why the past two councils who had to deal with this came to the conclusion? I would be really interested to see if any revelations came out of that, if that's possible. I tend to not put restrictions, but then I also understand why you might. But a placeholder really kind of bothers me as well in that regard, because first of all, that's a learning opportunity, growing opportunity in this job, and as we work together, opportunity to get to know each other, and in this position.
That's true, but the idea was that the council shouldn't be political in that sense. So that was the thinking then. It would have been nice to have the leg up. However, we had to go through a full campaign without that. And there were still a number of people that ran. I think I ran against 5 other people. So it's something to think about. I would never take the vote away from the people. However, do we unbalance? In other words, is all the decision-making done at the front end? One of the things that the previous councils were concerned with, and I'm sure Nicole can pull those minutes, was the fact that the heat would be when applications came in. So that you would have piles of applications for people who were really running for office. And that the council would be in a really uncomfortable position. We would be casting some very political votes, and that it wasn't as clean as it might be. Now, I hear the other position. I really do. And the people of District 8 should be able to speak. I get that. However, Mike Feely, the minister that sat in this seat till the election took place, did a fabulous job, learned a lot about the community, and then went back to being a community leader. He didn't have the political aspirations. So what I would prefer, rather than making some lockstep decision today, is to have some of that more discussion about it. I don't think there's a wrong decision to make. I think we might regret having the real decision about who's going to run or giving somebody a leg up now. We might even be challenged on that, and that's cool. I don't mind being challenged on that if that's the way we decide to go. However, I guess I would prefer to have some more in-depth discussion. I know, Phil, you were here during all of that. You might have some more recollection of that, but it goes much further back. It goes back to, I was elected in 2009, and it goes back to then, and maybe previously.
Yeah.
I just don't want to make a knee-jerk decision.
Yeah. So, and I agree as far as maybe putting that decision off. And then when Councilman Ledford had asked about minutes from previous councils, I thought maybe the best thing to do is, as far as deciding on whether a applicant, could run or not run, we've got a little time on that, and we could have a special called strategic planning next week to discuss this very issue. I don't mind putting it up for a vote if the entire council feels that that's the way that we need to move. what I was, like I said, I was just trying to lay out a clean process, looking back at the template. And by the way, I went back and forth on this as well, deciding, do I want to limit somebody's ability to run or not? But I think in talking to some individuals that had been there, in fact, on the council at the time, and seeing what they had done, I fell on the side of asking them to make a public commitment not to run. It would be non-binding, but if somebody is willing to make a public commitment not to run and then turns around and run, then can you really trust them? So, and I don't mind, Madam Clerk, if you want to go back and look through the minutes as to what the thinking was behind asking a person not to run. I think maybe we need to have a special called strategic planning next week to discuss just that issue. I think as far as, let me go one step further, Councilman Smith, and I see your light.